Hello friends, welcome to Selenium with CHAS training session 29. In today's session, you can learn what are the top 10 common Selenium WebDriver exception in CHAS and how to fix them. So what is exceptions? An exception is an error that happens at the time of execution of a program. However, while running a program language generate an exception that should be handled to avoid user program to crash. So in any programming language, right, whenever you are trying to write so many lines of code, right, and if you want to save, right, the code, sometimes it can give some sort of error message or exception. Those are called compile time error or exception. And some of the exception or error cannot be handled during the compile time, and whenever you'll be running them, only you can get those error or exceptions. Okay, this is called runtime exception or error. So whenever any kind of exception or error is coming, so you need to handle them. Otherwise, what is the problem will happen? The remaining line of code, suppose in case you are writing 500 lines of code, right? And in 100 lines, some exception or error is exception is happening. So you did not handle the exception, the remaining line of code will not be executed. That is the reason, in case we know that any kind of exceptions can happen, right? We should handle it, right, at the earliest to avoid the remaining lines of code execution problem, right? So that though error or exception is coming, you are handling this thing so that remaining lines of code can be executed smoothly, right, as per your requirement. The exception indicates that although the event can occur, this type of event happens infrequently. When the method is not able to handle the exception, it is thrown to its caller function. Exception objects are created and then they are thrown with the throw keyword. When unhandled, they disrupt the normal program execution. So the first is that no such element exception. It is thrown when the element cannot be found on the web page. This can happen for a number of reasons. Suppose you are using a wrong locator, right? There is one fits all locator strategy, but user have to make sure that they are using a locator that is both unique and correct. So you need to pay extra attention in case you are trying to create your customized serial selector or XPath, and make sure that they are correct. Make sure to create relative XPath always instead of absolute or partial XPath. Sometimes whenever you are creating an XPath, if you refer my previous video, right, there is three options way to create the XPath. One is the relative XPath, one is the absolute XPath, one is the partial XPath. So absolute XPath is nothing but that from the top to bottom you can create by going to the navigation to the element you can create the XPath. Partial XPath, sometimes if you remove some of the mediator parts, still it will work, right? But you should not go with this approach absolute or partial XPath. Instead of that, you should try to create a relative XPath. Why? Because relative XPath will be creating the XPath in case some of the person is fixed, right? And we will try to create the XPath from that particular condition so that it will not change. But if you create absolute or partial XPath, you are going from the top to bottom, right? Up to the element level. And in case in the meantime something got changed, it will impact your XPath. So whenever you are trying to identify the element, you make sure that, right, you are using the correct locator strategy and you are giving the correct value. In case of any problem, it will throw no such element exception. The web page is not loaded, completely loaded, and the element is not found, right? Sometimes suppose you want to perform some operation but the page is not loaded or the element is not loaded, so definitely in case element is not found, right, you will not able to perform the operation on that. To solve it, user can use, right, implicit wait or explicit wait, so that like it will wait until the element is loaded, right? And even you can implement fluent wait. Suppose sometime you are using implement or implicit wait, suppose you are giving timeout at 60 seconds, so it will try to identify within 60 seconds, but you can also implement fluent wait, so that within 60-second time, instead of only one time, you can give some frequency with every 10 seconds, so that every 10 seconds it will try to identify the element, and so 60 seconds means it will try to identify by 6 times. In case element is visible, it will try to identify it and perform the operation, right? Another thing is that the element is not visible on the page and user have to scroll or down or the scroll up the page. In case suppose say sometime you want to open the page, right, but whatever element you want to interact, right, it is available on the maybe in the, you need to scroll down, right, scroll right, scroll left, so that are the different thing you need to perform before identifying the element actually and running your script, right? Suppose say I'm giving you a simple example. Let's go to the Apple page. Okay, you can see the page is not fitted, like complete page is not fitted in the after opening the page. So you need to scroll down, right? Sometime even if you want to run it, right, want to identify element called privacy element or other link, right, you need to scroll down your page. So how can you do this, your scroll down, right? So I already covered session, right, how to scroll up or scroll down a page, right, how to navigate to a particular element, right, with the help of iJavaScript executor, right? So you need to use iJavaScript executor, and then you need to create it. So iJavaScript executor interface, so you need to create an object or instance by typecasting driver. After that you need to, right, identifying the element with the help of scroll into view method, right? So that directly you will navigating the element first, scrolling your window through that element, and then you are performing the operation. So that's why sometimes you can avoid it, right? So let's try to identify an element, and let's try to see that how this error is coming, right? No such element exception. Suppose say I want to perform the operation for the Facebook page. Let's open the page. So after opening the page, you can inspect any element. You can press F12 button from your keyboard, so that you can try to inspect it, right? So you can see here, right, class name email is fine, right? So I want to identify the element with the help of name equal to email, right? So this is my project Selenium WebDriver tutorial. I already written 3 lines of code for creating a driver object or instance with the for the WebDriver interface. I am maximizing it. I am passing the URL for Facebook page. Then I want to identify the element driver.find element by dot name. So what is the name? This is the correct name, right? Dot send key, this is a text field, so I can use send keys method. I can enter some value. Okay, so that's why in case I am running it, so today my script can work, right? But say suppose say tomorrow instead of it was changed to email 1, right? But still I have written it email, or maybe suppose say email initially I have identified with the help of email 1, but tomorrow it's changed to email or other value, right? So let's try to run in case it is not matching. So here value should be email, but I have written my script email 1, and suppose say whenever I developed my script it was email 1 only, but right now it's changed to email. So if you run your script, right, you can see that what are the error messages coming. So then how you can handle this kind of error message? So sometimes like page will not be loaded, so you need to give some implicit timeout and give some specific condition. Sometimes you need to scroll to the element, right? So with the help of different scroll into view or other methods available in the iJavaScript executor, right? Or you need to identify the element locator value properly. In case you identify with the name ID, right? Link text, partial link text, you need to give the proper value. Or if you are creating any XPath or CSS, right, you can see it is not clicking, right? So what the problem is coming, you can see it is throwing some error, right? What is the error? No such element exception, right? So no such element exception is coming here. But here in the console nothing is being displayed, right? So we can get the error details with the help of try catch block. So I'll be creating separate video, right, how to throw the error, how to handle this kind of exception in the main method, right? So I'll be creating a separate session, but still I can cover, right, how we can throw the exceptions in case any exception is coming in my console as well, right? So that I can easily understand what the problem is happening, and from the console thing, right, I can analyze it, right? Here output, right, its message is still displayed. You can see here the message will be displayed, right, because no such element exception is coming. But still if you want to you can see here no such element exception is coming, right? Method name whatever is there, it is not correct, but name email 1 is not correct. But if you still want to display the error message in the console, then how can you do it, right? You need to use try catch block, right, through which you will try to catch something and you will be printing out in the console, right? Let's try to run. So how can you do it? So before running my code, I will be using a try, then I will be using second bracket. So within second bracket I will be writing my code here, right? And once my complete my code, I will be ending the try block, and then I will be starting catch block. Catch, you can see if you press tab, so that exception will be triggered, right? And then I can print out in the console, right? So console dot write new line, write line, and I can print out that exception ex. So you can change the name of also exception, right? You can give that any variable name, you can give it and you can press it, and after that if you save it your code, so and if you continue it, so it should work fine, it should be right. So you need to use a try catch block. So try, right, and then you need to end it. Your lines of code will be within the try only, whatever lines of code you want to write it, and then you need to close with second bracket and you need to give the catch where you need to pass the exception. If you do not know the exact exception, you can do it the exception ex, and you need to print the exception console, so that that exception will be also printed in the console. Let's try to run the code and let's see what happening. We need to close the console window. After that we will be running the code again. Okay, let's save it and let's see. So here, like with the help of try catch block, the exception will be caught and it will be displayed properly, so that you can make the corrected, right? You can make it corrected, right? So let's try to identify the exception with the help of, so no such element found exception will be coming here and it will be displayed in the console as well. And definitely here also we will not able to identify the element with the help of name, right? Whatever we have given email one, because it is here, it is email only, change to email. So now if you go to the console, you can see the error message will be displayed in the console as well. You can see here, this is the thing is coming, right? No such email, unable to locate, right? Method name equal to email. So this is not correctly working. Okay, this method is not working. So now I can correct it, right? If I want to run it again, I can correct it. So based on my error message, I'll be definitely have some provision to correct it. So how can I correct it? So I need to, the first thing is that I'll be seeing that whether it is because of the page failure or not, because of the load, timeout failure or not. So we can use some implicit type or explicit type where I'll be waiting until the specific object is getting found, and I can correct all my ID or XPath whatever using with the proper value. And definitely in case element is not visible within the page, right, I can scroll up or scroll down or scroll left or scroll right, right? These are the different thing I can do it. Now try to correct it. Suppose I know that email name, or maybe I can change with other thing, right? Instead of name I can change is ID equal to email. So I can change the ID here, ID, and value will be email. Now definitely it should work and no exception should come, though I have used try catch block. In case no exception is there, so it will not work. Try catch block will be it will not play the role. Okay, though I am trying to catch the exception, but in case there is no exception, it will not be displayed, right? So that is the importance of the try catch block. So in case the exception is coming, it will be try to identify, handle it, but in case there is no exception, it will not throw anything. So now it should work properly. So it will try to open the browser, it will maximize it, it will try to load the page, Facebook page fully. After that it will try to identify, right, that email field, right, with the help of ID equal to email, and it will enter the value test123. So it should work fine and there should be no error message and my script should be working fine, right? And test case should be expected as working, test case should work as per my expectation. You can see the value is getting entered. So that is all about that no such element exception. So it might occur due to the several reasons I have listed down. Okay, so this is the primary reason, right? So that we are using some wrong locator, or the whatever value we are giving for the locator, correct locator is not matching. In case we are creating our custom CSS selector or the XPath, we need to be more careful, right, to create it. And maybe sometime page is not fully loaded, right, and or maybe object is not visible, still I am trying to identify it, and sometimes that object is not visible in that by default, right, the page whatever displaying. So I need to scroll up, scroll down, or scroll left or scroll right to identify the element properly. Next thing is that invalid selector exception. So what does it mean? This Selenium exception is thrown if the user are using an incorrect selector. An example of this, could be compound class name, which is not allowed. So what is compound class name? Let's try to comment out this code here. Okay, let's try to open another page. Okay, so I am be trying to open another page called Google. Okay, so this is the page I want to open it. So whenever you are trying to identify any element, sometimes class name can be compound, right? What does it mean by compound? Okay, so suppose say in the class name there can be some space, right? So this is called compound. It is not in a single shot. Underscore other thing can be allowed, but space sometime with the space, right? The Selenium WebDriver will not able to identify the element, right? So there is two solution, right? Either you can use class name and then without space, in case with that uniquely identify it, so you can do it. Otherwise you can use CSS selector where you can use dot. In case suppose three spaces there, you can use three dot. Submit button and other thing with spaces, so you can use dot dot. So that's why you can handle in case any invalid selector exception is coming. Let's try to see. So here in that particular field, right, I will try to enter something. So let's identify with the help of different properties. You can see if you move your cursor, you will be class name available, right? You can see what is the class name. It is name is Q and class name is this, right? Right? G, LF and GFSI. So there's a space available, right? So let's try to identify the element with the help of class name. So I will be trying to identify with the help of class name, and I want to enter here suppose say Selenium. So let's change it to class name. Okay, so I will be giving the value of the class, whatever class name is there. So what is the class name? This is the class name. But here you can see there's a space available. So underscore part and other part it will take. But in case there's a space available, it will be compound class. It is not the normal class. So definitely Selenium WebDriver is not able to identify the element in case there is space available in the especially in this class name. Okay, so what can we do? We can create a XPath, or we can try to identify with this class name which is there is no space, maybe partial class name. Still it will work. But in case there is a class name, there is a space there, so it will throw the error. You can see here the error message. It will try to open the browser, maximize it. It will try to load the Google page, and it will try to identify search box, right, with the help of class name, but it will not able to identify it because we have given some space. In the class name there is some space available. You can see some error message is coming, right, which is nothing but the, you can see, invalid selector exceptions, right? So invalid selector exception error message is coming. Invalid selector exception. So that will only happen whenever you are using any class name, and in the class name this is compound in nature and some spaces is there, right? You can see cannot have white space in class name, use CSS selector instead. So in case you are using any class name, you can press dot, right? A compound class name will not be allowed. You need to change in CSS selector instead. Otherwise you can go for the part where like there is no space available. So suppose say I will try to identify with that one. Instead of that, Control F, Control V, you can see one of two element is there, so only one element, so I can, is fine. So with that partial part, maybe I can try to identify it, right, instead of the full part. But in case if you want to give the full part, so in the instead of the paste you can use dot, and you can change it to class CSS selector. So that's why you can do it. Let's close those things. Let's try to now let's try to start it. Let's see whether that with the help of the second part, right, the class name, it is identifying the element and it is entering the value Selenium, so it should work. Otherwise you can change it to CSS selector, and whatever space is there you can remove the space and you can paste dot. So that's why you can fix this problem. So it will try to load the page, Facebook, Google page. It will try to identify the search box with the help of second part of the class name after the space, and it will enter the value Selenium. Okay, element not interactable. So here still some problem is it is because it is still not able to identify it. Maybe you can give the first part, or you can change it to the other way, right? Let's give the first part here instead of the second part. So this is the first part. Maybe it can work without the space. And let's close it. Or maybe you can create your XPath or CS selector, or write your custom CS selector or XPath, and then you can run your code. So whenever there is a class name available and there is a space available, you cannot use the class name. In case there is no space, underscore, hyphen, all these things work, but no spaces, so it will not work for the compound class. So either you can create your own XPath CS selector, and you can do the operation. Okay, now you can see with the first part it is still working, right? Selenium is getting entered. So that's why you can fix your code in case of this kind of error message is coming. Then the third one is stale element reference exception. So what does it mean? It means that reference to an element is now stale, or the element is no longer available on the web page DOM. Sometimes whenever you have scripted your right, you have done your script development, automation script development, at that time with that attribute you are able to identify the element, but now the element attribute got changed, element got removed from the page, or element is no longer visible, it's changed to hidden element. Something can be happened. So whenever you will be running that script, right, the problem will be coming that elements stale element reference exception. In other words, the element was initially found on the DOM, but the DOM has changed, right? Okay. Since then, the common causes for this is the element was deleted from the DOM. The element is no longer attached to the DOM. One possible solution is to refresh the page and try to find the element. Sometimes you can refresh it in case maybe element is visible but is not loading complete. You can refresh it. After that, you can try to perform the operation. Or user can wait for the element to load before they manipulate it. User can do using with the help of explicit and fluent wait instead of implicit wait. Definitely, it's better to use the explicit and the fluent wait at the same time. Then next one is no alert present exception. So you already seen, right, in some of the pages that alert can come, right? Suppose say this is the page, right? So if you are clicking something, it alert will be coming. And then how you can handle the alert? Divert dot switch to, right, dot alert, right? Then you can accept the alert, you can get the text, or you can dismiss the alert, or you can send some key. Divert dot switch to dot alert dot accept dot dismiss or dot get the text, right, or dot send key, so that you can send something to the alert, right? In case it is, suppose if you clicking on that one, it will be giving you to enter something. But sometimes say alert message is not loading properly within the time. Okay, so no alert present exception is thrown when Selenium is trying to interact with an alert that is not loaded on the web page within the time, or maybe due to some other issue. So if the alert is needed, not loaded at all, then user may found a bug in application, or perhaps the user are missing the steps that lead to the alert opening. Another reason can be alert is displayed slower than Selenium performs the action. In this case, user can add implicit wait to their code so that actions performed on the alert is displayed by few seconds. So how can you implicitly wait it? Driver.manage.timeout.implicit wait equal to time span dot from second. How can you do it? Right? If you go to the code, you can see I can use driver.manage dot timeout, right? Here you can give the implicit wait condition dot implicit wait. You can see this is coming. Then how can you give the value? right? Here you can give time span, okay, time span, right? And here you can give either from day, hour, minute, second, right? So I'll be using from second. Here I can give some second, suppose 60 second I want to wait, so it will definitely within a 1 minute time it should be loaded, right? And your that exception should not be, right, triggered. Okay, then the next one is element not interactable exception. It occurs when an element is found but you cannot interact it with. For instance, you may not be able to click or send keys. This could happen due to the various reasons like element being not displayed or visible, element is off screen, or element is behind another element or hidden, right? Then how can fix this problem? To fix this, first make sure that user is using an unique locator and they are identifying the correct element on the page which is not hidden as all. So in case the element is changed to hidden status, there is no point of performing the actions, right? You cannot do it in case the element is hidden, right? With the normal element locator technique or the normal operations, right? So let's see how can we get this kind of error message, element not interactable exception. Okay, so let's comment out this code. And how can you get to know that element is hidden or not, right? In case any element is hidden or not. Hidden means you can able to identify the element, but you will not able to see in the UI. That is the reason you are, in case you are able to trying to perform some operation on the element, right, which is hidden, so you will not able to interact in the UI. It will throw some error, right? Let's try to open the Facebook page. Again, so if you go to the Facebook page here, right, and if you press Ctrl F, okay, there will be one element. What is the element name? Let's try to find out the element. Okay, let's try find with login hyphen. Okay, let's press Ctrl F here only. Press Ctrl F. Yeah, login underscore source. Okay, you can see this is the input field, right? With that login source I am able to identify the element, right? But it is not highlighting in the UI. Why it is not highlighting? You can see input type is hidden. This is input element, but type is hidden, means it is not visible in the UI, right? So you can see, you can identify the element with the help of name, but it is input element also, but it is hidden in the element. It is not visible in the UI, right? That is the reason whenever you are trying to perform it, right, try to identify, it is not visible. So let's try to identify, because it is the input field, so I can perform some operation, right? So driver dot find element, right? What is the element properties? The name is login hyphen source, right? So by dot name, what is the name? Login hyphen underscore source, and this is a text, so I can enter some value called, suppose say I want to use some send keys. So my code is correct, right? But element is hidden. Whatever element with the name is login source, it is, I am able to identify in the DOM, but it is not visible in the UI. So it is hidden, type is hidden. Now if I want to perform some operation, right, I want to run my script with the hidden element, and though it is text field, so I can send some values, right? Or maybe if you want to identify whether it's visible or not with the help of displayed right method, and you can print out whether visible status yes or no, you can do it. But here as this input field, right, I can definitely try to enter something, right, but the element is hidden, so it will throw this exception. Let's see whether this exception is triggered or not. So this will happen only because of the right reasons I have listed out. So you need to be careful that you are not identifying any hidden element, right? You are not trying to perform any interaction, or definitely your page is fully loaded. You are identifying the element, with the help of correct element locator technique and the correct value. You can see the error message is coming here. Okay, what is the error message coming? Element not interactable exception, right? So that is the exception, element not interactable exception. So it will occur when the element is not found, right? It could be various reason, like the element not displayed or visible, element is off screen, or element is behind another element or hidden. So to fix this, first we need to make sure that element we are using unique locator with the correct value, and they are identifying the correct element on the page which is not hidden at all. Okay, so that's how you can handle it. Let's close it. Let's go to the next page. Then next one is element click intercepted exception. What does the exception means? This is usually thrown when the element was found on the page, but the click action would be performed on a different element that is overlapped our element. For example, right, sometime you are navigating to page, right? So you already see that element is visible, and if you want to select something, it is throwing some error that you need to sign on, right? Or you need to enter, you need to enter your email, you need to create a login, all this stuff. Sometime it can page, right? If you suppose sometime you want to navigate few blogger page, right, and scroll down a bit, you can see that they will be prompting you to sign up. So user will not be able to click any of the link on the page until you are signing up and closing out. Kind of advertisement or any kind of thing will be coming from their initial thing. So that kind of their element click interceptive exception will be coming, right? So suppose one solution to this exception is to use the action class for performing the click. We can use actions class and then move to the element directly without ignoring that kind of alert or prompting, right? So the element is not visible on the page, and user have to scroll down or scroll up the page, reach it when with the help of iJavaScript executor interface also. Sometime in case it's not visible, we need to scroll up and scroll down. Otherwise, we can use the action class and we can directly move to the element. We can click the operation. Okay. The next one is that no such frame exceptions. So exceptions occur if the frame target to the switched to the does not exist, or it can happen to multiple reason, right? So suppose say right, let's go to a web page where we can handle if there is a frame associated. And you know how to handle the frame, right? We can handle the frame. First we need to driver.switch to .frame. We need to go. After that we can either use indexing, right? Either page name or either frame reference. So this is the page, right, where there is a frame associated. Okay. So how can you identify the frame? Suppose say if you want to perform some operation in here, right? Drag and drop. Okay. So how can you identify there's a page available? Press. In case there's a frame available, definitely right click and you can see view page source. Right, there will be option called view frame source or reload frame in case any frame is available. So you need to handle the frame, right? So you can inspect it also, right? The frame and iframe. So you can type with iframe. So in case any kind of advertisement is there, right, you can type with iframe, or other frame you can use with frame only. So you can see only one frame is there. So definitely in right, so what will be index? Index will be 0, only one frame. But if you want to handle the frame after giving the index called 2 or 3, which is does not there in the page, then it will throw the error, right? Frame not sorry, what is the error? No such frame exception. Let's try to handle the frame here. Driver dot switch to dot frame, right? Here either you can give frame index or frame name or the other element frame reference. So here in case you are giving 0, so it should work properly fine, right? Because the frame only one frame is there, so the 0 will be fine. But if you give it to 2 or 3 which does not exist, so then what happened? So you need to change the page also, right? So that error message will be coming, that frame does not, sorry, no such frame exceptions, right? So that you can easily identify that definitely you are trying to handle the frame, but something you are missing it. Either you are giving the wrong index, or whatever element name or whatever element reference you are giving, right, it is not correct one. So definitely you can correct your value. There can be other options, so I will be letting you know what can be other options. So here it will throw the error. But if you give the value as 0, so definitely frame will be handled, right? And definitely you can perform other operation within the frame, because there is only one frame available. So index you can give it 0. So you can see there will be error message coming, right? No such frame exception. So why? Only one frame is there, but you have given it 2. That means 0, 1, 2 means total you are trying to identify 3 frame, right? So that will not work. Okay. Another reason could be that there can be some sort of a nested frame as well in the some pages, right? Okay. So no such exceptions, frame exceptions can occur due to multiple multiple reasons. First is that user is trying to user is using incorrect frame ID or name. In this cases, make sure that user correctly identify the frame they want to switch to. The next one is that frame is not loaded, right? To solve this, you can use implicit wait until the frame is getting loaded properly. And another one reason is that the frame is nested inside a different frame. In that case, user must switch to the parent frame first. After you switch to the parent frame, then you can switch to the child frame. Just like the inner table or nested table I previously I have covered, right? So in case there is an inner table or nested table available, so first you need to navigate to the table and that cell with the help of table, table body, and then table row and table column. After you just go to the cell where nested table is there, then you can interact with the nested cell, right? So table again, table body, table body, table row, and table column. So that's way you can interact. Similarly, in case there is a parent frame and child frame association is there, right? You need to go to the parent frame first. Suppose this is the page, right? You could see here there is a two main frame is available, parent frame. One is the bottom and one is the top. So if you want to inspect the frame, and you can see if you want to directly interact with the left frame, it will not work, because in the left frame there is a parent frame available, right? Let's try to go to the left one. Okay, you can see the frame is coming. It is not the iframe, it is normal frame, right? So you can see here, suppose if you are going to the frame, right, where you can see the frame middle, right? The frame name is middle, but it is coming also from the parent frame, right? There is a parent frame available. This is the frame called left frame, right? So if you try to go right, you can see, right? Sorry, this is the left one, right? Before the left one also there will be frame available. What is the frame? Called top. So first you need to go to the parent frame, right? You can see this is a parent frame. So in the parent frame there is a 3 sub frame or the child frame available, left, middle, and right. So if you want to interact with the right, middle, or left, first you need to go to the top frame. Once you navigate to the top frame, then you can go to the left frame. And from the left frame again, if you go to the middle frame, you cannot directly go to. Again you go to the top frame again. After that again you go to the middle frame. So that's why you can interact with the in frame in case there is a sub frame or nested frame or child frame is available. Otherwise it will throw no such frame exception error. Then next one is timeout exception. So definitely you are using implicit timeout, explicit timeout. Still, in case your page is not loaded, whatever timeout is giving, right, it will throw that no timeout exception error. So this exception is thrown when there is not enough time for a command to be completed. For example, the element search was not found in the specified time. Then how can you do that? To overcome this, user can increase the implicit time wait time. Suppose in case you are using 20 seconds but it is taking 30 seconds, so you can increase for 40 seconds so that it will work. Page will be loaded fully. Otherwise, you can use implicit time better. That is the will better more than the explicit time. Okay, instead of implicit time, you can use explicit time. So that definitely you can go for the particular condition instead of the whole page to be loaded or whole the operation to be loaded. Then next one is no such window exception. What does it mean? So in case you are handling with multiple windows, suppose say right now you are opening a new window, Facebook page, again you are opening a new page called Google, again you are opening a new page called other page, right, Apple, and right, so you have opened 3 pages. But if you want to interact, identify the Facebook page element, So definitely you need to go to the element to the window first, right? Because there is 3 windows, so your script will not able to identify which window you want to interact, right? So in case you did not handle it, so it will throw no such window exception. This exception occurs if the window target to be switched does not exist at all, right? User can solve this by getting all the window handles, then switch you to the current one. With the help of window handles, you can get all the windows, and then with the help of diverse switch to that window, you can go to the correct window, right? In case you are having 3 window and first window is Google, so you can directly go to the first window, and you can try to find out the search box, and you can enter the value, you can click on the search. In case you want to interact with the Facebook page using window 2, you can directly go to the window 2. So that's why you can handle it, so that no such window exception will not never occurred. Last one is from the top 10, no such attribute exceptions. This exception occurred in the Selenium if the attribute of the element could not be found in the current DOM of the element selected by the locator. So you already seen, right? There is an attribute of thing whenever you want to interact in the Selenium. Suppose you want to open the Facebook page, right? And if you want to identify any element, you could see. So this is the input tag, and these are the different things will be attribute. This type and value equal to text, class equal to input, other one name equal to email, and definitely with the help of, right, get attribute, right, you can try to get different attribute. Okay, but in case attribute value is missing, or maybe you are giving wrong attribute name, instead of type you are giving type 1, which is not valid attribute, right? So it will throw that kind of error, that no such attribute exception. So to handle this, you need to give the proper attribute where the value is present, and if you want to get it with the help of get attribute methods available in the Selenium WebDriver, right? Okay, so that are the different top important exceptions, and I already told, right, how to avoid these things so that this kind of exception is not coming. And I'll be creating separate videos, right, where you can get to know how to get all the exceptions, right, with the help of try catch block, how you can use the throw keyword, right, and if definitely in the main function how you can use those things. No such exception, no such element exception, other exception with the comma separated stripe, or you can give exception, so that though it is exception is coming, it will be handled, and so that your remaining line of code will be executed without any intervention, right? Okay, so that's all from today's session. Thank you.